What is gender-based violence? Gender-based violence, or GBV, is one of the most common and widespread human rights violations. GBV is violence directed against someone on the basis of their gender or sex, which results in physical, sexual, or psychological harm. These acts violate an individual's human rights. GBV is most commonly perpetrated by men against women, girls, and other vulnerable people. However, men can also be victims of gender violence. Who are the perpetrators? Non-partner violence is violence inflicted by someone you do not know well, like strangers, acquaintances, or colleagues. However, violence is generally perpetrated by someone you are close to. This is known as interpersonal violence, which is perpetrated by either a friend or a family member. Intimate partner violence is perpetrated by someone you are in an intimate partner relationship with, a lover, spouse, or an ex-partner. What are the different types of violence? Physical violence is the intentional use of physical force or threats of violence. From a pinch to a punch, any act or threat of violence is damaging, whether the damage can be seen or not. Sexual violence is forcing, intimidating, or even tricking someone to engage in any sexual act against their will. Any sexual act with someone who is unable to understand what they're doing or is unable to consent because of their age, an illness, disability, or the influence of alcohol or other drugs is sexual violence. Forcing a lover or spouse to engage in sexual acts is a form of sexual violence, either called marital rape or intimate partner rape. Sexual harassment is also a form of sexual violence that can either be verbal or physical. It occurs in private and public spaces, such as schools, workplaces, in the streets, and on public transport. Economic violence involves denying a person access to their money, economic activity, or other basic needs by either controlling their finances or stopping them from achieving financial independence. All these forms of violence may lead to emotional and physical trauma. Emotional violence can also include verbal abuse, humiliation, and controlling what a person can and cannot do. Emotional and economic violence are as equally damaging and disempowering as sexual and physical violence. These types of violence are often misunderstood or ignored by people, even those we turn to for help, like the police, the courts, and other support structures. No matter who you are, where you live, or who is inflicting it, GBV is never acceptable.